Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another From the Vault video. This is a video series that I do from time to time where I make a video on a rare, cool, or mechanically interesting firearm, often from my personal collection, but occasionally the collections of other people that I think you would find very fascinating. And that is what this revolver is that we're going to take a look at today. And this is on loan to the channel from my good friend Jack, who has an amazing collection of rare firearms. And the revolver that we're taking a look at today is the Mateba MTR-8. Yeah, that thing looks really different and unique. This is a revolver that was designed by Emilio Ghisoni, who also designed the Chiappa Rhino and the very famous Unica semi-automatic revolvers. This was his second firearm design and his first revolver design. It has a bunch of unique features to it. It is designed and intended to be a target firearm, and I find it to be not only historically significant, but from a gun design perspective, a very significant gun, because it shows that people were trying to think about new ways of approaching old designs and modernizing essentially a design at the time that would have been well over 150 years old, and kind of bring it into the modern age, and to think about the revolver in a different way. But let me go ahead and adjust the camera because I want to give you guys some close-ups of this. I'm going to show you how this works and also talk about an issue I had when I took it to the range. So let me go ahead and adjust the camera and let's check out this really cool revolver. So here is the Mateba MTR-8, and I believe the name comes from Mateba Target Revolver, and 8 indicates the number of rounds that the cylinder could hold. All 500 examples that are known to exist were chambered in .38 Special, but there were some other variants that were planned or prototyped, such as the 8M and .357 Magnum, the 12, which would have been in .32 Smith & Wesson, the 14 and 22 long rifle, and there were a couple of carbines that were prototyped, and those are known as the MTR-X. And once again, this revolver was designed and made by Emilio Ghisoni, who also designed the Unica semi-automatic revolvers and the Chiappa Rhinos, and those are still in production today. This was, once again, his second firearm design and his first revolver design, and he wanted to make a target revolver, and so some of the things and concepts that he thought would enhance a target revolver would be to add a lot of weight to the front of the firearm, thus reducing its recoil. We can see these really nice target grips, beautifully crafted. And he also wanted to have a very low bore axis. So as you can see, he took the entire mechanism and lowered it and put it in front of the trigger guard. Now, his semi-automatic revolvers and the Chiappa Rhinos shoot from the bottom cylinder, but in this design, it still shoots from the top cylinder, but he lowered the whole mechanism, and that's why it looks kind of weird. And that is designed to give it a very low bore axis, so the recoil comes directly back into your hand. This gun has a shrouded hammer, but the gun is double action, single action, and you can actuate the hammer from this little lever here on the side. It is on both sides, so if you wanted to cock the hammer, you can take your thumb, pull it back, it rotates the cylinder, and if you want to release it without having to dry fire it or fire it, you can simply pull the trigger back and release the hammer just like that. Very similar to that of a modern revolver. So now let me show you the operation and a couple of interesting things about this gun. So let's open the cylinder. We do have the cylinder release here on the front. You pull down on it. Something to note is that when you close the cylinder, it will not close unless you pull down on that cylinder release. So it just won't close on its own. You have to pull it down. So let's open this thing up, and then I'm going to remove this little clamshell moon clip speed loader kind of thing. And this is actually one of the most important parts of this revolver, because this gun will not shoot without this device. You just cannot load this gun and put rounds in that cylinder. Let's see if I can get that into focus there. without that clip. And these are very rare and extremely expensive. As you can see, it does hold 8 rounds. And I'll show you how to load this. In the back, there's a little dial, and it corresponds to a little slot in the front, and you have to open it by turning the dial where everything lines up, and then it opens up like a clamshell. Then you can load the rounds, and by the way, these are just snap caps. This gun is not safe to dry fire. So it's very important that if you did want to dry fire this, you do have to use snap caps so you do not damage the firing pin. So let's go ahead and put all of the snap caps here into the clip. You then close it up. You can go to this side and you can see if that little latch goes through it. And once everything is in there right and lined up, you can rotate it, and there it goes. And now that essentially is kind of like the magazine for this revolver. So now we can simply load it. You drop in that clip, and then you can close the cylinder, pull down on that latch, and it closes. And before I talk about the issue I had when I took this to the range to try to film a range report, I did notice something after I shot it, and I was actually a little bit concerned. There is a little hole in the back of the frame. And I noticed this, as I said, after I shot it for the first time. And I was really worried that I either damaged the gun or something fell off the gun and I didn't notice it. However, I went online and found other pictures of the MTR-8, and every example has this hole in the back. I am not 100% sure what that is for. It probably aids in disassembly of some type or adding other accessories like a stock, because I know that they were trying to make carbines out of them. But all the examples that I found do have this little opening and hole, which is on both sides of the revolver. But now let's talk about how this revolver operates. It functions pretty much like a standard double action, single action type of revolver. And right now it is safe to dry fire because I have those snap caps in there. So if I pull the trigger back, the cylinder will rotate, the hammer will drop, just like a standard modern revolver. And if I want to shoot it single action, I can pull this lever back, cocks the hammer, rotates the cylinder, and I can shoot it. And I can tell you that is a very, very nice trigger. But now let's talk about the issue I had at the range. This gun has most of the same functions and features as modern revolvers, they just might be in different places. And the issue I had with this firearm was with the cylinder stop. And the cylinder stop is up here at the top. And let me show you that right here. It is spring-loaded just like your typical modern revolver. And so when I function tested this here on the workbench before going to the range, everything works fine. If I shoot it double action, cylinder rotates, everything locks up, everything seems like it's functioning fine. Once again, pull that hammer back, cylinder is locked up, and I can fire it single action. However, when I did load this up with live ammunition and shot it for the very first time, I discovered there was a problem, that the cylinder would not lock back into place. It seems that under recoil, the cylinder stop right here does not always come back through the frame and re-engage the cylinder. And the only way I was able to get it to re-engage was to drop the cylinder and then close it up again, and then it would activate. So after trying this for about 8 to 16 rounds, I realized maybe this needs to go to a specialty gunsmith to have that looked at. The gun seems to function when you dry fire it. It doesn't have any issues or hang-ups. Everything looks and appears fine to me, but under recoil of live ammunition, the cylinder stop does not always re-engage. And so it might be something very simple as just the cylinder stop spring. I cannot see anything wrong with this revolver, but that is what my experience was. And unfortunately, I did not have the camera on at that time to record that experience because I was just testing it before trying to film a range report. This would have been an amazing range report, and hopefully one day, if Jack gets this figured out, I will be able to revisit this really awesome and extremely rare firearm. And this thing is definitely an oddity, and started Emilio Ghisoni's trek through the revolver world. If you do want to unload it, drop that cylinder release, and it does have an ejection rod, and that whole clip simply comes out. So this gun is also designed for speed loading. And once again, to find these clips are actually really hard. I believe these came with only one of them, but you could buy them as accessories in the aftermarket, but very few of them survive to this day. But there you go, the Mateba MTR-8 revolver. Let me also give you some close-ups of some of the proof marks here. So here is the proof marks on the side of the frame. I'm assuming those are Italian. We have the information here, caliber 38 special, the serial number. On this side, you can see Mateba, made in Italy. And that's all the markings on this particular pistol. So wow, what a really interesting and cool gun to have here at the Texas Gun Vault. This might be one of the rarest revolvers that I have ever handled, and one of the rarest guns I have ever been able to show off here on a From the Vault video. So just to get to hold a piece of history like this is so cool. Let me show you the sights here. So there's the back. Here's the front. It's finished beautifully. The grips are beautiful. Yeah, everything about this is really cool. It's a very interesting design. So there you go, the Mateba MTR-8, Mateba Target Revolver, chambered in 38 special, 1 of 500. Just a cool gun all the way around, and I am very lucky to just get to handle it and have had the honor of, well, trying to shoot it one time. So that is it. Hopefully one day I'll get to revisit it if this cylinder stop can ever be fixed. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you guys think this is a really cool piece of history? Does it interest you? It's like a museum piece in my personal opinion. So, as always, thanks for watching.